Hey friends, so I am back with another having fun with color project. If you saw my last video, or I'm not sure when this is going to go up, if it's going to be the last video or not, but I will link it below, the map of the United States where I mixed colors. That kind of inspired me to just start playing with colors and just kind of go with it and see where it takes you. So I pulled out this the surface that Couture used to have, which I only have 2 left, and I really wish that I would have grabbed more, and I would love if they brought this back, this reclaimed wooden board, whatever it's called. I forget what it's called offhand, but reclaimed diagonal palette is what it's called. But it's 12 by 18. It's a great size. So I pulled out some colors. Again, I'm just playing. Oh, I'm not playing with that one, but I had that out because I was marking it. I grabbed the April color of the month, Academia, which I don't think I've actually even, nope, I haven't even used yet. So I need to stir that up. I also grabbed Tide, which is very similar. Academia is a little bit darker. I wish I had this month's color. It's such a pretty blue, but I did pull out Shimmer, Moonlight. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go that dark of a blue. And then I also grabbed out Forest, and I grabbed some Shimmer Gold. Not sure where I'm gonna go with this, but I think I'm gonna start with Tide and painting this board. I'm gonna add maybe a little shimmer, and I'm gonna see where it takes me. So what I decided to do after I had pulled out my chalk paste was I decided to give my board a base coat of paint before I started painting with the chalk paste. So I grabbed out some Laguna in Apple Barrel paint, and I'm just going to give it a quick base coat, just a light base coat. I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to start painting with my chalk pastes. So once I have that base coat of paint on my board and I made sure it's absolutely dry, I'm going to grab my Tide chalk paste and I'm actually going to paint with it. I'm going to grab a color tray here in just a second. I'm going to add some of my chalk paste, and then I'm going to water it down to thin it out to more of a paint consistency, right? Because chalk paste is fairly thick. So I want to water it down to make it spread easier, because I don't want super thick layers on my board that are going to be hard to dry. So I'm going to do a layer of that and then continue on. So when I was done painting, I ended up with a happy little surprise. I inevitably got paint all over my hands, or chalk paste, and I went to grab a wipe and wash my hands off, and I thought, I wonder what it would look like if I used this wipe on my board while the chalk paste was still wet. And it added a cool effect. It rubbed off some of the chalk paste so you could see the paint below, and I thought it was really cool. So, sometimes happy little accidents are a fun thing to happen. And as I'm drawing my board, you can really see the texture that using that wipe gave on my board. I thought it turned out really cool. So once this is dry, then I'm going to start with a couple other pastes. I'm going to use Academia, which was the, I believe, April color of the month. And then I'm also going to grab some of my Gold Shimmer. Layer of chalk paste is dry, you can really see the effect of using that wipe on the board. I just love it. So you see I used a little bit of sandpaper to kind of get a couple of the bumpy spots where I touched the chalk paste before it was absolutely dry. So now I am grabbing Academia, which is very similar to the Tide chalk paste, just a little bit lighter. And again, I watered it down, and I'm going to add a layer on there. And then I'm also going to do the same thing with the Gold Shimmer. So after I added the Gold Shimmer, I grabbed a wipe and started kind of blending that in a bit. It's already starting to look so cool. I love this. So I let it sit and air dry while I went and grabbed dinner. And then when I came back, I decided that it's a little too much gold for this project, although it does look pretty cool. So I'm gonna, again, grab some more paste, add some water, and touch it up. Not so much everywhere. I'm going to give it kind of a light brushing over the Gold Shimmer just to kind of tone it down a bit. Okay, so I let this dry overnight, and I am super happy with how this turned out. I love all the textures, all the colors. The different colors that you can see on here. Side note, excuse my painted fingers. Of course, I paused this project or let this dry, and as I did that, I started another project and had a little paint sprayer catastrophe. I actually had a paint sprayer that would not stop spraying. I've never had that happen in the years I've been using spray paint, but anyway, I usually have a few different projects going at the same time. So this is all dry. I'm going to probably sand the edges just to rough it up a little bit. I'm going to wax it. Originally, I was planning on doing this landscape, but then I thought this peony transfer, it's called Etched Peonies, would look so nice on this, going this way. So my other dilemma, I guess you'd say, is trying to figure out what color to use, because I thought this shimmer eucalyptus might look so pretty on this as a faint image, not real like in your face. I thought about using some of the shimmer gold. Obviously I could do white, or I could do like kind of like an, oh, I'm going to have a paste catastrophe here in a second. I could use like an off-white, like a fawn. Oh, that might actually look kind of nice in there too. So that's the other thing I need to figure out. I could always use fawn and then go back over it with another color. So I'm going to try and figure that out. I'm going to sand it, wax it, and then go from there. So once I have waxed my board, you always want to make sure you wax your board if you're chalking on something that's wood or painted. Helps protect your transfer, helps keep the paint from pulling up onto your transfer. Then I'm going to lay my transfer down, and when I'm using a surface like this that has different edges, or it's not entirely flat, especially like this one where it has ridges, I try to get that transfer in each of the ridges as I'm getting it flat, to try and get it as flat as possible. And when I chalk this surface, I'm going to make sure that I chalk in the direction of the wood. So I don't want to work against the wood, I want to go with it. So I'm just going to start chalking, and then about halfway through I'm going to pull it up. Partially I wanted to make sure this was chalking okay, that I didn't have any spots that maybe weren't flat. Also, I am working with an older paste. This is actually a retired paste, and I could tell it was kind of starting to dry out a bit. I probably should have added a little bit more water to my paste, but oh my gosh, it's turning out so cute. I love it. So I'm just going to continue pasting, and then I'm going to pull my transfer up. Oh my gosh, I am so happy with how this turned out. I'm really glad I decided to go with the fawn. Now this is a retired color. However, the closest color you could use if you wanted to do something like this would be, I think it's called Dune. You can always add more brown or white depending on how brown you want to color or how light you want to color. But I'm really, really happy with how this turned out. This was so much fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. This project was a lot of fun to make. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe buttons so that you don't miss any of my videos. And as always, thanks for watching.